Hey, Professor. So, what did I learn about the American Revolution? I'd say I figured out why it started, um, the cause of it. The War of 18, or the French and Indian War, and then, uh, the British then taxing us, and we weren't really used to being taxed like that. Um, and then, along with the ideology of the Cato letters of preserving freedoms and standing up to tyranny, along with common sense from Thomas Paine. All of these things kind of culminated into a stubborn class of people that didn't want to take no for an answer and would turn to violence if people around them didn't want to do what they were talking about, like the Sons of Liberty and stuff like that. But to answer your question, what did I learn about the American Revolution? I learned that I learned about the military tactics, about like what the British were trying to do, that they employed different generals that were trying to do different things. But one thing that they did almost immediately was they took New York, they took Chesapeake Bay, and they did a blockade. Learned that General Washington wasn't that great of a general. He did learn though, the Battle of Trenton. He attacked in the dead of night on Christmas, which is kind of something crazy for back in those days. But I guess one of the biggest things that I learned was the Wilmot Proviso, about that, just about how dire that could have been if it got out, and just how many like blacks were actually fighting in the revolution. Let's see, and then one topic that I guess though to answer, pick one topic to discuss about the American Revolution, I'd have to say just how much that we used the French, and how much they supplied us to win the war. I thought that that was kind of cool. I mean, they even sent people over here to help train the troops, sent the Navy over here to block Cornwallis in. Very good. What did I learn about the early republic? So 1987 to 1815. I learned that the states definitely believed in states' rights. There were a bunch of rebellions, like the Shays Rebellion, that George Washington had to go put down over the whiskey tax that Hamilton had put through because he wanted to make a banking system. Can't say I blame him. As far as like one topic that I really want to talk about, would be like the Louisiana Purchase, and how that kind of ties in with Napoleon, and how he started to kind of, he knew he wasn't going to be able to colonize over here, so he just sold it, which helped us out tremendously. I learned about, back then, that one of the northern states in Massachusetts, they wanted to secede because they thought that Thomas Jefferson was, more of a darling to the southern states, and he kept it together. And then also the War of 1812, where we just willy-nilly declared war, got the White House burned down, but we also got the Andrew Jackson coming out of the war with the Battle of New Orleans, where we whooped up on the British, even though the war was already finished. And And then what issue or development do you think was the most significant in contributing to the coming of the American Civil War? I think that the issue was expansion, because we wanted to, the Manifest Destiny, go all the way coast to coast. We're gonna go through Mexico to get there. You know, we don't care. We're going. But the problem, I think that the biggest thing, my worldview on this is that the American Civil War started because of two things: slavery and states' rights. Because people, North and South, had both threatened to secede but never actually went through with it. And I think that kind of, we are the United States. It's a perpetual union. I think that was not a super big deal. I mean, at the end of the day, slavery was first and foremost the reason for the American Civil War and why it happened. I mean, I just really think that people didn't want it to spread. I think that Abe Lincoln didn't want it to spread. I think that a lot of people were just, I don't think that people even cared that it was around still. I think that they would have just phased it out. But instead, we wanted to expand it. We wanted it in Texas, and then we wanted to get it further, New Mexico, wherever. And that, I think, is what really caused it. The expansion, or the threat of expansion of slavery. And what is the most interesting thing that I learned about in the lectures? So let's see. I thought that learning about the Industrial Revolution was really cool, and about like how right after the American Revolution, it reverberated across the country. Now everything was being built here, and we had our own little Industrial Revolution after Great Britain, because we were now producing things for ourselves. Another thing that I thought was pretty cool would be, let's see, hold on. The goal of factories. No. Yeah, goal of factories: maximize profits, minimize expenses, lives become regulated, child labor, longer hours, 12 to 16 hours. There wasn't an 8-hour workday back then. That was like, what? No benefits, unsafe working conditions, attempt to unionize. No, sir. No, sir. They got busted up. National trade unions in 1834, but still they weren't like how they should be. No unskilled women or African American labor unions, and immigrant labor was easy to find. Then you got growing criticisms between slave labor versus free labor, meaning like, how can we compete whenever, you don't have to pay those people? It just doesn't make sense. And also the transportation revolution, just like straight up taking the railroad from, let's see, like New York all the way to Chicago. They were already thinking about that, which is super, super duper cool in my opinion. But yeah.